Welcome to the second video on this channel. So this video is kind of going to be, well, the whole structure of the channel is just for me to record, because I don't think I spoke about this, and maybe I did last week, I can't remember. But it's for me to basically record my journey. That's number one. Number two, it's really a video journal because I feel like I do so much that I don't get time to reflect. And so I think this is going to be a good avenue for that. So last week I mentioned on that video that I had a sales call coming up. And so this is my feedback from that sales call. I wrote some stuff down. And so it says here I hosted my very first sales call and this is what happened. And this wasn't even like my very first sales call. Anyway, so number one, I wasn't prepared. I was not prepared for that call. And I can tell because of how I got lost in the sales process and how much I was yapping, how much I deviated from the structure which I have in a Google Sheet. And so, yeah, that just tells me that I wasn't prepared and I didn't follow the plan. That's number one. Number two, my transition from small talk to the pitch could have been a lot better if I summarized our journey from the discovery call to the critique to now. So as I said, I do Rubik's Cube coaching, specifically speed cubing coaching. So basically helping people solve faster. And my current sales process is I advertise a free solve critique, which is basically me looking at your solves and telling you what you can improve on. And then from then, people would either wherever they see that, right? Because I have multiple places. I had Reddit, which my account is banned. YouTube is the main platform I'm focused on right now. So all that is meant to funnel people into my community, and then from my community, that's when they kind of inquire for this critique, right? So this is my lead magnet. So from then, I book a call with them. I don't do a critique for anybody. If you don't book the call, you're just not that serious, right? So at least it kind of qualifies people along the way. And so book the call. So I had spoken to this person that I had a sales call with last week. So I had the discovery call. That's what we call it, discovery call. And then I found out that he was actually a good fit for the critique. So I had then given him the critique, which took a couple of days. And then I was like, okay, cool. I sent it to him and hopped on a call. And basically, before we hopped on the sales call, I was like, okay, cool, dude. So here's your critique. Now, if you would like me to kind of give you a roadmap of like what to improve and when to improve it, then let's hop on a call. So that was last week's call. And so, yeah, my transition from like small talk is obviously when you hop on a call, you can't just immediately get into business. You have to like start with small talk. And so, yeah, I just felt like my transition from sales or small talk rather to the sales call was trash. And I can improve on that. Number three, he realized from my critique that he has a lot to practice, but doesn't know where to start, which is a good thing because my service fixes that problem. And so the whole purpose of having a free thing to give to the person, doesn't matter what your offer is so that you solve a problem for them. You give them some value up front for free to demonstrate your expertise and to just provide value. So the whole purpose of that is so that like they can deem you as an expert or at least as somebody who knows what they're talking about. And yeah, as I said, like just providing value to the person and making it more likely that they convert as a client. And so, yeah, he realized like all the stuff that he needs to do, like he doesn't know where to start, right? And so it was kind of overwhelming for him. So the whole purpose of that is to kind of fix their current problem, which is I don't know where to start, or at least I don't know what's wrong with my solves. And then the next problem is I don't know where to start in fixing my solves. So that's where my paid stuff comes in. So that was a good thing I did. And then point number four it seems like I was low energy. And this is something I feel like I struggle with a lot. Even now in this video, I feel like this is like the second take. The first one, I felt like I was just low energy. And even now, I feel like I'm low energy. But yeah, this is something I really need to improve on. And then the next point is all the problems and pain points I covered. Huno felt like he was looking into a mirror because he struggled with the same thing. And so that's what you want to do, is you want to kind of demonstrate that you understand your prospect's problems more than they do. If you can communicate to your prospect that, hey dude, like, I understand your problems, this is how it feels like, this is what you go through, and they didn't even particularly have those words to describe their problem, they're going to assume that you have the solution, right? So that's another good thing that came out of that call. Point number 6, I could have done a better job of relating the roadmap with his critique and the weaknesses I found. Okay, so in the solve critique, so my solve critique, it's a written critique, which I basically, like, man, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's a Google document that I sent to them. And so in that Google doc, I basically tell them what's wrong with their solves. So in my presentation, the sales presentation, it's basically me walking through what they are going through as a current problem, which was my past problem. So I was positioning myself as somebody who, my current situation is their desired situation, and their current situation is my past situation. And so I was really trying to, like, make sure that that comes through. Now the problem is I didn't really relate the Google Doc to the sales presentation. I could have used a lot of the stuff that he went through and he was doing wrong in the Google Doc so that he kind of sees the connection there. And then next time I'm done with the presentation, I should unshare screen so we can focus on each other and handle objections. So yeah, my sales process is, on the sales call, I present my offer, which is a 3-month coaching program. And from then onwards, what I realized was, like, we were kind of looking, or at least I was looking at the Google Doc and not looking at him and his body language. So I want to unshare screen next time I get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm done with the presentation. Like, all I need to do now is just handle objections, because they're gonna come. And then lastly, I need to also reiterate the importance of having someone look at your solves and why the solve critique was so helpful. I don't remember why I wrote this, but I can tell why it's valuable. And it's because, like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So it goes with anything. Like, if you're playing like tennis, for example, you're gonna hold the racket in a way that's comfortable to you, but you don't know how to hold it in a way that it's effective for a powerful shot. And so you don't know what you don't know, and you need somebody to look at that to let you know what you don't know. So then you can realize that, oh, okay, so this is probably why I'm struggling in this area. So that was last week's sales call. And by the way, I didn't close him. Shocker, I know. Okay, a couple of days later, I had some notes here. Dude, my hair is itchy, bro. I need to wash my hair. Myron Golden says he doesn't get objections because he thinks about the customer's concerns long enough that he diffuses the objections before they come up. This is something that I think would be helpful for me to do. And one objection that I was thinking about is, because, like, I had this last week with that sales call, is this dude, he said, like, okay, he said something along the lines of, like, this might take a lot of time. I don't have that much time in a day, something like that. And the honest truth is that it doesn't even take that much time. My offer focuses on efficiency. And so not investing so much time doing, like, the stuff that needs to be done to improve yourselves. So that's something I didn't communicate, which came up in the objections. So that's something that I can take and be like, okay, I'm going to address this before it even comes up as an objection. Um, and then Myron Golden also says, detach yourself from the desire for a yes at the end of the sale and focus on the low or the law of averages. Some will say yes eventually. Everyone else is just helping you get better at sales. So I paraphrased what he said here. Everyone is just helping you. Everyone else is just helping you get better at sales. That's all that sales is. It's a numbers game. So yesterday was my second sales call. If I continue at this rate, bro, I'm gonna sign my first client next year. Honestly. And so I first need to figure out my traffic. Like, how can I get the most people to know about my stuff and hop on as many sales calls as I can? That's like the one thing that I'm kind of struggling with. Um, and so, yeah, it's just a numbers game. So, I mean, if I just keep hopping on calls, like I should just like try and detach. Even like yesterday's sales call, which I'll get into just now. Like yesterday's sales call, I was nervous, bro. I was super nervous. I was messing up. It was honestly worse than last week's call. Um, and so yeah, I just need volume, dude. I just need to do this more and more and more and more. And then he also says here, if you want to be a good seller, become a good buyer. I think a part of like me not really believing that people would buy my offer is me not really buying expensive stuff because I would deem my offer to be expensive. And obviously, expensive is relative. Like, you know, $50,000 is not a lot of money to someone out there, right? So, but to me, obviously, it's a lot of money, and so I just need with whatever money I have, not to cheap out and like buy cheap stuff. And I already practiced some version of this already, but then we have been so conditioned to buy the cheapest thing because that's all we can afford, and like that forces you to be in a mindset of lack. Whereas with somebody who's, and I saw this video from Alex Omozi today. He says there was a business he was working with. They were way too underpriced, and he finally was able to help them charge 50% more than their current price, and their close rates actually increased. And so that showed him that people were actually not buying because they didn't believe that these people could help them because like they were too cheap. So that's a shocker to me. Even like I'm like, oh okay. So there is such a thing as like being too cheap. Okay. And then yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the 26th, which I think was Tuesday. I'm trying to write as much as I can, bro, but I do be skipping some days. Okay. Yeah. So on the 29th, which was on Friday, um, dude, I watched this podcast, and dude, it's a South African podcast. Um, I don't really know what their niche is, but then I was just honestly being rage baited all throughout the conversation because they had a Christian on, and this lady, albeit I think she was well meaning, um, she was low key being a heretic. She was like she didn't know much of um, the basics of our faith as Christians. She said something like, "We don't have free will. God doesn't have power on this earth." And dude, like every time I heard her speak, bro, my blood was boiling because, like, that video had like at the time 80 something thousand views. And I'm like, I looked at the comments and like people are praising her, like, oh man, this woman, you know, she's so smart, she's so sophisticated. Her level of intellect is, and like I agree with a lot of those comments. But what worries me is the people that didn't even rebuke her for her heretics, which means that they don't understand their faith as well. Because like they're like, yeah, you know, yeah, we need more Christian women like this, whatever, to speak. And I'm like, South Africa needs good teachers, bro. And so again, I think even in last week's video, I mentioned that God, I feel like, is calling me to some sort of ministry. And I'm now in that position where I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna make a living out of that currently. If I was to like full time go into ministry right now, I don't know how I'd make a living. And that's why I'm doing this coaching, Rubik's Cube coaching thing, because like at least some people would pay for that. And so yeah. So that video just made me, yeah, I was really pissed off. But anyway, the main part about this video is what a rat taught me about faith. And so last week's video actually, that rat was interrupting my video even, right? So this is a practical example of how we lack faith as human beings. So 2 Fridays ago, I bought poison, and on the package, I read the instructions. It told me this poison will take full effect within 4 to 12 days. And I'm like, okay, a bit longer than I expected, but I read into it more, and like apparently it needs to be that time period so that like after the rat eats the poison, it doesn't catch on that it's the poison that's making it feel unwell. So in that way, like it kind of like it can eat the poison every day until it gets that dosage where it can now die, essentially. And so, yeah, bought that. And over the next 2 to 3 days, my mom was like super, super passionate about killing this rat. Like, I mean, she was crushing the pellets, she was mixing it with some food so this rat would eat. And over the next couple of nights, it was eating because we checked the poison the next day and it was gone. So, like, okay, this rat is eating, good. And then some weird stuff started happening. So in last week's video, I don't know if you can hear it in the audio, but it was kind of like scratching on the wood floors, and that's something it only did at night, that we could hear like midnight. But then it became a habit that it was doing during the day, and I was like, okay, this is weird. And then I googled that, and then apparently it is a symptom of poisoning. It's kind of like agitated and frustrated and in fear. So it's kind of like scratching on all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, poison is working. And then I remember this one day where like it was squeaking and squealing. And I'm like, bro, this thing is like in pain, bro. Right? And I Googled it, and lo and behold, Google confirmed that it was poisoning. And so I was like, okay, cool, this thing is working. And then I think there was a day we didn't see it and didn't hear it over the night. So we're like, oh, okay, this thing might be dead. And it just pulled up out of nowhere. And it was just like, it was really terrorizing us, bro. Like, that thing was making a lot of noise. It was jumping on our sink in the kitchen, the pots, the stove. Yeah, it was just doing too much. And so, fast forward to at this point, like we are doubting whether the poison is working, because it's like what, 4 or 5 days in. And then Friday night, I believe, oh no, Thursday night, so this is the night before it died, I'm in my room, and I see it from the corner of my eye creeping into my room. And as I chase it away, my mom gets up, she chases it with me, and it appears not to be afraid. Like it was kind of like taunting us in a way. And I'm like, dude, this rat is like getting comfortable, bro. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just Google this behavior. So Google says that when rats are poisoned, they'll show up during the day, and they will appear to be unfearful of predators and human beings. And I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. But then I was still like doubting that this poison was working. And even my family, when I told them this, specifically my mom, she was like, I does a like, which basically means like that's white people stuff. Like her and my sister, and I honestly also was believing that this rat was like sent through witchcraft. That's a whole different topic. But like I believed it at some point because like it was like it looked like it was doing all this stuff on purpose to like terrorize us. So I was like, okay, like this stuff isn't working, bro. And yeah, I was just done. And only to find out the next morning, I found it laying dead in the kitchen. And so the reason why this reminded me of how we lack faith is that we saw that the rat was eating the poison and it was finishing. We saw its behavioral changes, and we still chose to doubt that the poison was working. And so, yeah, like that just shows us how much we lack faith as human beings, and I can definitely relate that to how we lack faith in God to deliver in our lives. Okay, that was a whole yap session. So I want to talk about my sales call yesterday, and then I think I'm going to be done with this video. So yesterday was my second sales call, and like, dude, I was depressed after the call. I was depressed, um, because I really sucked. I was nervous. Um, I was yapping, and my computer was glitching. Like it seemed like everything was going wrong, and the more stuff went wrong, is the more unconfident I was projecting myself, and yeah, it was just like it was a disaster, and so I wasn't able to close him. Um, but yeah, that just goes to show that I just need reps. I just need to get to a point where like sales is a natural skill of mine, which I've been a sales agent before, like in 2020. Like I broke a sales record at my previous company. Um, but I haven't done it in that long. So yeah, I just need to get back into the groove of it. And yeah, I guess that's this video. New update, there's another ad. Um I found it today, and my sister saw it today too. Um yeah, life is interesting. Um because like even with, so I'm currently in debt, and it's not like that much debt. It's like 1,500 rands, which is for this laptop that I use for my business. I had bought it from this guy. He sold it for me, or sold it to me for 3K, and I paid him half. Um, and then I was like, okay, dude, I'll pay you the other half. I really need this to work, right? Because I have clients and they're gonna cancel, and they did cancel. That's a separate business. It was affiliates. Um, so yeah, like I still have to pay this dude, and like he texted me today, and I'm like, bro, this is like a couple of months later now. And so like all the stuff that's happening, bro, it's like it's really weighing on me mentally. And this is like I haven't really had this feeling in a really long time, where I really question the choices I've made in life. Like I've always, like from the day I quit my job to this year, so I quit in 2024, I was always confident that I'd figure it out. I was always confident that I'd be okay, and I am okay. Um, but then like it's taking longer than I expected, and so yeah, it's really interesting the position I'm in currently. And yeah, I think when I make it, because I'm not gonna say if, when I make it, this is gonna be a really good video to watch back. That's the only reason I'm sharing this stuff, is so I can have this video as a reference to kind of like anchor me and help me remember where I came from. Cause like I'm at rock bottom right now, bro. I'm at rock bottom. And so yeah, I guess that's this video. I know it was all over the place, but yeah.